Hello, everyone. Hello to our faith formation families. We are here today. We are going to introduce our prayer session coming up on February 9th at 6 o'clock, where Terry Fairchild will be presenting to us on prayer. So Father Schatz and I are here to give you a little introduction to that session and talk about prayer a little bit. So
hello, everyone. Good to see you. Yep. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this.
So we'd like to begin just praying a little bit out of the 6th chapter of the Gospel according to Matthew, which is titled Teaching About Prayer. But when you pray, go to your inner room, close the door, and pray to your Father in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will repay you. In praying, do not babble like the pagans who think that they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them. Your Father knows what you need before you ask him. It's a powerful piece out of the Gospel according to Matthew. And Father Schatz actually found this article from the Baltimore Sun that we will be sharing with all of you so you can read it as well. But it talks about us praying and how prayer is part of our human need and our human nature. That we want to be praying, that it's a powerful experience for us as humans, it talks about not just being something that we do theologically or intellectually, but as part of our human nature. So we're going to reference that a little bit and we're going to send it out along with this so you have that to reference as well. So why is prayer important?
It's thank you, Jesse. I think it is this. So this article it's a secular newspaper, and it's just interesting that all of a sudden, and I think do some nice work that the author did some nice work of doing a kind of a sampling in some ways of the major religions in the United States, of Christian, of Muslim, and Jewish, and just talked about just kind of talked to all these different people like, why is this prayer thing important to the human person? And it just is, right? And I think the first thing that I would like to just what the importance of prayer is, it tells us that we are made for something much more than just our local moment. That all of this coming together as it isn't just some random collection of moments, but we recognize something that's greater than us that unites us. And our prayer raises our minds to God. That God, you are a part of this. And particularly in our Christian faith, we discover that God is so a part of this. And he's told us that I'm going to send my son to be with you. And so that this prayer it just speaks about a deep reality. It's the greatest thing. Your action of prayer as a parent is huge for your kids. For them to see you stop and pray and acknowledge there's someone greater than this world, greater than this moment in the midst of it. It's just an incredible gift to give all around. So that'd be my short answer of prayer. I'm trying to be shorter. Sorry, Jesse's asked me to be shorter. Get to the point, Father Schatz. So it's good. She only can work. You only can work with the tools you have. So I give her a little bit of leeway. So
That's a good answer. And so we're thinking about why it's important in this year of embracing deeper faith. How is that helping us to embrace deeper faith?
I think this is a key again to our Catholic faith. As you heard Jesus say in the passage that Jesse read at the beginning, go to your inner room and pray. And that inner room may be a physical room, or it may be just a quiet spiritual space within you. But one of the things, and I think this is important for you to also share with your kids, that sometimes we get prayer wrong. And here, just this would be the example. And it's a tough example. But I work with college students quite a bit. And they'll get into this thing that I was not created good. God hates me. Why do you do this to me? And when going, oh, wow, whoa, wait a minute. No, that's not the God that has been revealed to us. God loves us so much that he came to be with us. God loves you so much. And so our prayer, that we have two things, that we need to develop our own personal prayer life, but also our liturgical prayer, going to Mass, baptism, all these things inform us in some ways of the right content of our prayer as well. That this baptism comes from Jesus, wanting to baptize in the name of the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit. We're being baptized we are now sons and daughters of God. Oh, I pray differently. If I'm talking to God as my Father, I am praying different than if I just see this God as a far off, person who maybe hates me. No, this is a loving Father. So that's where that combination is really, that's where you start to embrace deeper faith, where you take Scripture seriously, go, oh, okay. So
that's interesting. And I was thinking about the article as you were saying that, about the content of our prayer, because one of the things that shocked me about it was that, it talks about the different type of prayer, thanksgiving or petition or adoration. And the thing that shocked me is it said that 95% of human prayer is thanksgiving. And that was really surprising to me. Like, I would think, and then the least was petition, asking for something, was like 61%.
Oh.
It said, and I would think that to be flip-flopped actually, because I feel like that's what we go to our Father for, is to ask for something, and not always to thank him. But if I do think about it personally, like every night I make sure to thank God for every member of my family, and that is like the one thing, like that is my prayer that I'm usually ending my entire day with. And so if I think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I am thanking him, but I feel like it should be the other way around. Like, I want to ask him for things too. And sometimes we don't want to just ask him for things like he's some kind of wishing well.
Right.
But also not being afraid to ask for what we want.
Yeah, I was really caught early on when I was thinking about going to seminary. I had a friend of mine from high school who kind of just got into some trouble, and I invited him to stay at my house. I bought a house in Des Moines, but the rules were that he couldn't do anything too crazy. He had to have a job, and he had to go to church with me on Sunday. That was the rules of the house. He could move in, and he had to pay a rent or anything. Get him. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I was 23 years old. Anyhow, he one time he asked me. He says, "What are you doing after you receive communion at Mass?" And I sat there and I went, "Well, I guess I'm probably thinking about what I'm going to do the rest of the day, and kind of think about what my day is going to be like and stuff like that." Finally I said, "Well, what do you do? And he says, I just thank God that I'm here, that I'm not someplace else. I felt about that tall. And I went, oh yeah, of course, yes. I say thank God at every turn too. So that was a bit surprising for me as well. Obviously, it's been surprising for 25 years, but so.
So when we start to think about why we pray, why it's important to us, how it helps us to embrace deeper faith, we get to the question of why did Jesus pray? You know, Jesus is fully God. Jesus is fully human. So why would Jesus pray?
Good question. We see it all over Scripture that Jesus went off to pray by himself. You know, he sent the apostles off, and then he went to pray in the hills by himself. He said, you know, he went into the synagogue as was his custom. So it was a weekly, you know, participation with the synagogal prayer. He went into the temple to pray. Why? You know, yes, he's the Son of God. And I think this is probably part of our tradition, sharing a very important piece that we've come to know that Jesus was fully human and fully divine. He was the Son of God and yet fully human. And I suppose it goes back to the beginning of the article that he is the proof for us that prayer comes from the nature and the need of the human person, humankind. You know, I guess it shouldn't be that. This shouldn't be a hard question. That's a good question. You know, if we think about it as communication with God, if you have a loving father, you want to talk to your dad all the time. And Jesus was talking to his father. I mean, think about that prayer that he gave us. It's Father, Abba. You know, that would have been the Hebrew word for that would have been Abba, Dad. Your will be done, your kingdom come. You know, and so even as he was showing us how to pray, he was showing us how deep this relationship is. So.
Yeah, it reminds me too of the last piece of the article. St. Augustine made the article, secular article, right? Which
right.
is awesome. The quote from St. Augustine about how God has made us for himself and we cannot rest until we rest in him.
Right.
And that's such a powerful thing if we think about, well, sure, I can rest. You know, I rest all the time. I rest every night. And but it's not the kind of rest that he offers us. And I do think, like, sometimes I feel maybe this is a misperception that, you know, even though Jesus was here, he didn't have to do some of these things, but he only did them to teach us what to do, you know, to teach us how to do it, or to teach us what we should do as humans. So he was here as the example. But that quote is so powerful because I don't know. I just think it encompasses everything that prayer is, that, yeah, we can't be at peace until we are, you know, in communication with our Heavenly Father.
Well, I think I just want to go back to one piece, is that culturally today, we're kind of told that we are supposed to be able to get things that make us not restless anymore, that we're going to be completely satisfied here on earth. We are made, first of all, for heaven. And we are not going to be perfectly satisfied here. There is always going to be a restless. There's going to be a wanting for something more. And that wanting for something more is a great thing you share with your kids, right? They achieve then. They do well. They want more. But I think that's the problem is when we think it's the end, that it's not a part of the journey onto the fullness in heaven, and that we have a little foretaste of it as we go. So but I think to just recognize, yeah, there's a restlessness in my heart that is actually supposed to be there. That's not anxiety. That's not bad. It's actually a gift. Oh yeah, I am longing for something more. I am made for something more. And that prayer again goes back to that very thing that I long for God. It's the prayer is really the leading you along the path of where you want to go. It keeps you going the right direction. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
A great summary to help us understand how it helps us to embrace our faith deeper.
Okay.
So thank you. And thank you everyone for listening to us again.
Yeah.
We will see you in a couple weeks, February 9th at 6 o'clock on Zoom.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye.
Take care.